Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us after what I hope was a delicious lunch. I'm excited about this panel today because we're going to have a customer-focused session on how on-demand liquidity is changing the game. Customer and partner insights have been hugely valuable for us as we shape the way that this feature evolves for the future. The other reason I'm excited to moderate this panel is because I have some distinguished guests with me. And if you guys don't mind, I'd love for you to just introduce yourselves, maybe just a quick intro about your company and the role you play in it. Michael, do you mind starting?
Sure. Thank you, Ginger. My name is Michael Brooks. I founded a global freelance platform that connects clients to freelancers globally. Little background, I've written 2 books about electronic payments and digital currencies, and our primary business is billing people around the world and paying people around the world and providing tools to support people that hire people around the world.
Hi, my name is Bárbara González Briseño. I'm the head of finance of Bitso. Bitso is the largest exchange, digital asset exchange in Latin America. We have the largest liquidity book for MX and pesos and crypto, and we've been working on trying to bring use cases of digital assets to the region, and we believe that ODL is the best way to do so. So we're very excited to be partnering with Ripple as we have been for a few years, and yeah, very excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicolas Steiger. I'm the co-founder of FlashFX. We're an Australian payments platform. We service a mix of clients. On one hand side, we have consumer and SME clients we service, but we also enable third-party payment gateways and small banks to use our infrastructure for international payments. We've been using an on-ledger Ripple solution for the last 3 years, and very to be now on RippleNet and using ODL.
Great. Joisie?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Joisie Mantilla. I'm from Peru. I am here with Interbank Peru. Interbank is one of the top banks in Peru. Last year, we've been named top 20 bank more innovative in the region. This is our 2nd year attending Swell. We are one of the early adopters for XRP in the region, and we're really excited to be here and share with you guys our experience.
And for those of you who aren't as familiar with on-demand liquidity, you may hear a few of us mention XRapid, which was the former name of the feature, to clarify any confusion. But on-demand liquidity is a feature offered within RippleNet that helps customers eliminate the need to pre-fund an account in the destination country where they're sending funds. So XRP, in this case, a digital asset, is used as a bridge between 2 fiat currencies to help ensure that payments are happening seamlessly and quickly. A very important element of the adoption of on-demand liquidity has been the comfort around the use of digital assets for cross-border payments. So I'd love to hear from the panelists, what was the moment or the situation that caused you or your business to consider digital assets for cross-border payments? Bárbara, do you mind starting?
Yeah, for sure. Bitso started 5 years ago with the idea that crypto could be a solution that could actually turn Latin America into the integrated financial markets. The region has a lot of particularities that differ from the US and Europe that were not as developed as those regions are. For example, if we talk especially about Mexico, you have 40% of the population is banked. So you're talking about out of 125 million people, only 40% has access to the banking system. And out of that 40%, a lot of those people are actually underbanked. So the opportunity to actually bring solutions to them that could change the way of how they interact with the system is enormous. So our founders started the business truly believing that crypto and digital assets have the power to transform the region, and that has been the vision for the past 5 years, building liquidity in the markets, but especially thinking of how that liquidity can actually be transformed into use cases that can make a change in how we interact in everyday lives.
Yeah. Nicolas, what about you?
Yeah, FlashFX has been well across the usage of digital assets. When we launched FlashFX, we only had an on-ledger Ripple solution. using IOUs and XRP, and we've only retrospectively then integrated into traditional FX and payment methods and expanding the reach of currencies we have. So we're well across. We started on that path, and by us, well, the reason why we've gone out with ODL is having the ability to connect to more destinations, more currencies, something that we've been missing in the past, where it was sort of an isolated solution we had with the limited reach. So very excited to open up Australia and see more destinations opening up and have a really bilateral setup using ODL.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah, in Peru, we started thinking about cryptocurrencies, but first it started appearing in the US. The bank has done a great job trying to attract talent that is really focused on innovation, and in this way, we have an innovation lab inside the bank. So we work as the teamwork that is allowed to fail and try different things, and we have started working with Xcurrent in that way. Mm-hmm. And now, after a year of working with Xcurrent, we have decided to move forward this year and use the cryptocurrency to do our transactions. The need that we have found is both our products of either corporate payments or just remittances are outdated. Mm. We're not being competitive in the market anymore. There are so many fintechs, especially coming from Brazil or from the US itself, that are targeting Peru as one of their next steps to flourish. So our big effort and our jump to work with Xcurrent and Ripple overall is a great team and a possibility to bring new opportunities of business and also to innovate for our country. Our mission, we are a bank that is only focused in Peru. We're not planning to expand, but we think that we can expand through our service through expanding to other regions with our transactions and the quality of our services in that way to serve Peru. And we think as a whole that taking a chance into different technologies, working with different companies and working with liquidity in this time, this year, is going to give us the extra jump to be even more competitive and to keep that edge that we have right now.
Interesting. And Michael, as one of our earliest customers, what was the turning point for you and just your comfort, not necessarily even with on-demand liquidity, but just digital assets generally? What was the moment that you began to view this as an opportunity for cross-border payments? Well,
so using RippleNet as a tool to pay people, our recipients have no idea. Right, to them it's agnostic who we use, as long as we can provide the lowest cost and the fastest solution. That's what they're looking for. And going after some of these more challenging corridors that offer a greater opportunity for growth, especially for a freelance platform like ours, it was a no-brainer. So payment efficiency, being a payments person and having a payments background, payments and billing efficiency and payout efficiency is built into our strategy. So we plug into as many platforms as we can. So we're like, great, let's give RippleNet a shot. And once we plug in, we route the transaction to whatever's the most effective. And since the beginning, that has evolved to just about everyone in one of our highest growth corridors has been RippleNet. So it's been very exciting for us. It allows us to drop our cost a little on the front end, which gives us a strong competitive advantage over our industry counterparts so we can pull more business. So the digital asset itself is a very effective tool, but it was just cost and speed made the decision for us, and it automatically goes. It continues to go based on cost and speed.
You all are sort of at the forefront of adopting both on-demand liquidity and digital assets generally for cross-border payments. Where do you think the industry is as a whole? Are we at the starting line? Are we at an inflection point? I guess in the context of this conference, are we at a swell? How do you think the industry is thinking about digital assets in this way? Nicolas.
Look, I think it's been a long road for Ripple and XRP and digital asset as a lubricant in that payment process. And like what Michael is saying, really what it gives us, the settlement cost, the speed, The customer doesn't necessarily need to understand how it's done. They're just happy the way it's being processed. Everything is moving more on the mobile as opposed to desktop. People don't walk into the bank to make a transfer. They don't ask how it's done today. They just want to, what does it cost? How safe it is? When does it get there? And ideally, I want to know when it has arrived. And I think by using the Ripple solution XRP, it can give that to the consumer or a business.
I think if we considering the timeline of where we're near an inflection point. I don't think that we're at the middle or the mature part of the industry by no means. I think that there's going to be mass adoption of digital assets and all the use cases that they can be utilized for. One of the things that we're seeing at Bitso, and it's very interesting, is that we used to dream about doing cross-border payments or remittances, and this used to be only a vision, as Brad said earlier today, and we're starting to see that really happening. Today, we have, if we analyze what we're doing on a weekly basis today, we are at 1.5% of the remittance corridor between the US and Mexico, which is the largest corridor in the world with $35 billion a year. So if you think that's 1.5%, which is nothing, but it's amazing in the dimension of what we're talking about, the opportunity it can blow our minds. And this is just one corridor talking about just the world and connecting all the dots, not only in remittances and cross-border payments, but in all the different use cases that we could give to the technology. I think this is just starting.
Yeah, your thoughts?
Yeah, where we are is at the end of the beginning. I mean, there's no denying it, right? So I've been saying it for years. We can put a man on the moon, we can find water on Mars, but I can't send a wire on Sunday. and to be able to press a button within our application and then have money move through US fiat, through XRP, within seconds out of XRP and into one of these more challenging corridors at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday is earth-shattering. And it's just a competitive advantage that makes every day payday for my people. And that's the delta between winners and losers in my business.
Excellent. Anything to add? Or?
Yeah, I think it's a very exciting time, especially for countries that for some time has been developing and now they're moving forwards, like Peru. We want people in all the world to have the same experience. And we feel that at the lab, we work directly with clients. We interview them. We try to empathize directly with how they see banks and institutions. And I think that this change that Ripple and the technology is allowing also to change the mentality that people have with how they do transactions and create this healthier relationship with banks. It's not about changing the industry. It's not about destroying banks or banking as a whole, because these institutions have come through many years and they're part of our culture, but we just want to improve them. And I think it's a very exciting time, especially coming from the Americas, where as the people of Bitso are working, we have a lot of transactions coming through the US, and we're dependent somehow in that currency. Mm-hmm. I was talking to other people today. We have a lot of transactions that come from Japan to Peru, and we're open to that. But because of those details that the technology is not helping at this point, we are not allowing to all the people to have the same experience that other people in the world will have. So I think it's an exciting time to democratize the experiences and giving them the opportunity to have a healthy relationship with finance that is going to change a whole generation for sure.
It's exciting.
Can I say one other thing?
Yeah, please.
So there's one other point I want to drive home. It's not just that there is this change, but it's the rate and pace of upgrades. And that's something that you can't, I mean, I look just at where we started versus where we are now with our experience with digital assets and with Ripple and customer satisfaction and sending payments. And it was good to start, but it's night and day from where it is now. And from my experience working with third-party non-bank platforms and other platforms, it's a serious challenge getting things moved. And it seems like this digital asset moves almost like a tech company, where it lives and breathes, moving fastly, accepting customer feedback, accepting user feedback, and upgrading. So that's why I say it can't be ignored anymore. It can't be put off, because that's where I see the value.
But the interesting thing about the composition of this panel is we have folks that have been working with us on on-demand liquidity in different parts of the value chain from almost the beginning. On-demand liquidity really just started sending its first transactions at the end of 2018 and has been commercialized for the last couple of quarters. But we also have some folks on the panel who are fairly new to working with Ripple in this capacity. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the benefits or challenges that folks who've been with us for a while have seen. What's the benefit of using on-demand liquidity for your business today? And then what are some of the growth opportunities that you see for folks who've already been involved? So I guess that would be Bárbara and Michael specifically.
Yeah. I guess that I can talk to two different points where we interact with ODL. Normally, Bitso is a partner to Ripple in providing this liquidity to ODL and actually building the corridor, US, Mexico, and soon Latin America as we expand. But also, we are a customer. I can very proudly say that I was testing the product since last year, from the beginning, and trying to figure out how that could solve my necessities as a treasury manager. Me as a head of finance, I handle a lot of funds that are probably on a US bank and that I need to transfer into Mexico, and my options are very scarce. Usually, they take a while, they're very costly, they're not efficient. From a working capital perspective, is a very complicated transaction. And using ODL for me as a customer has been game changer. Once you test it, I always say that I'm the biggest fan of ODL because nobody's telling me these stories. I've done that myself and I've been benefited from it. You see the two screens and you see how money travels so fast, and then within the minute you have the money that you want to transfer that you were used to transferring in a week-long process, and now it costs you cents on the dollar, and it's so immediate. So from a customer perspective, it has been a wonderful experience. And for us, the partnership with Ripple, from the business perspective, is just so important and is such a key part of our business today. And we are truly thinking of expanding together into the region.
Great. Michael?
So it's like a value paradox, right? If I have a wire that I need to send, a $50,000 wire to a vendor, and I send it a little after cutoff, they'll get it the next day, no big whoop, right? But if I have 5,000 freelancers in a very challenging corridor where the average ticket is $150 or $200, they're depending on that money. And I don't hear one client going, hey, or one vendor going, hey, did you send that wire out? I hear from everybody. So the ability with some of the upgrades that we've been doing to hold cash in our account, send a message to our bank saying, okay, here's the transfers we want to book today, and then having them flow through RippleNet via book transfer through your system to the end user is any day of the week, day or night. That's been huge for us.
So we'd have some new customers here as well. Both FlashFX and Interbank are fairly new to on-demand liquidity, not necessarily to RippleNet. How are you guys thinking about your hopes for this as you go through the on-demand liquidity journey? What are you expecting to see or hoping to see after implementing the product?
It is really that speed of the settlement, and we have so much feedback in the past of clients sending funds from A to B using RippleNet, and just awed by I get my money somewhere in Europe, somewhere else in 2 minutes on the account, and I can do what I have to do. And that's really what we hope for ODL. And the on-demand liquidity, especially for financial organization like us, there's either the pre-funding side or using XRP as the funding vehicle for that payment. So it massively improves our operational costs in using ODL. Have the speed, but don't really needing to pre-fund all these various accounts across the globe. our customers, even this morning after all the announcement and everything, is kind of, how many ODL currency destinations are open, what are the next ones, and they can't wait. That these are consumers, these are business. We have other third-party, banks or payment gateways. It's kind of look, yes, we want this solution. Let's open up more ODL destinations as soon as possible, because that's really going to be the difference for us in competing with an existing market.
Yeah.
In the case of Interbank, we're a classic bank. We try to do innovation. We're fast-moving. We do things really well at this point. We're top bank in transactions. We barely have any mistakes. Our transactions come into the country in 10 minutes. There is not much difference between real time and 10 minutes. What we're really looking for is to get included in this big shift. We want to be the first one to take a step into leading this conversation, especially for the region. And why is this important? Most of the financial centers are in Brazil. We want to also have the opportunity to take a big participation and take the leap into working with this technology, seeing what happens. When we started the project at the Innovation Lab, we didn't have metrics to follow. The bank gave us a free blank space to just explore. And our bet was inclusion, innovation, and see what happens next. When we signed first, we were just looking to work with Xcurrent, and rapidly our shift moved to XRP. We wanted to use ODL. I think it's very important that countries be very proactive, and especially banks are leading in the industry. And we're taking that role seriously. So we are very excited to start working this year, and we think that we're going to explore and probably lead how ODL is also spread inside the country, hopefully inside the region also.
One of the intentions behind the Swell conference, as many of you know, is that we're trying to help folks that are participants within RippleNet make connections with each other so you can find more ways to grow your business and increase opportunities. What do you guys need to be successful, like from the folks in the audience? What are you looking for from your counterparts?
I think in the case of Interbank, we're a bank in Peru, in Latin America. Most of our transactions don't have a business case to go to Asia. However, because of some cultural aspects that happened a few years ago, we have some transactions that are coming from, especially Japan, China to Peru, big numbers. But we're not able to focus them because there is a difference in language and the speed that the Peruvians that are living in Japan and the Peruvians that are living in China are speaking to the one that are speaking their families back home. I think there is a gap in between how people do remittances when there's like in totally different regions. It's not the same remittances probably from the US to Peru. Somehow they understand each other, time zones, technology advantages, it's totally different. So what we are looking for to progress is to really open these conversations and to explore. Not necessarily just look first into big numbers, because if they are not there, that doesn't mean that they don't exist and that a need doesn't exist. We have done a lot of research about how our clients are spread throughout the world, and most of the transactions happen with other partners, maybe online or through remittance companies. But we really want to take a chance and focus those through a bank. And why through a bank? Because we are more reliable, we understand better our clients, and I think that to have more partners will help. I think the Ripple putting on these events are helping a lot, and most of the partners here are very knowledgeable. Probably they're a little bit forward in terms of how we are adopting it in South America, and I think that they're doing a great job, and they should keep doing that, because it's not only that they are impacting positively their regions, but the whole world and the whole financial industry. So I will say keep the speed, for sure.
Oh, sorry.
You go first.
I think we need two things. The first one is more partners or more customers that want to use a service and that they want to take the leap into trying and testing ODL. If I know that if you're a traditional player in the space, it might seem something very innovative to go and try ODL, but I would invite everyone who has this opportunity to do so, try it, test it, see how your costs are reduced, see how the speed benefits your customers, and understand that this is a new way of doing things and that the disruption is good for everyone in the chain. Everyone gets benefited. So one would be that. And the second would be liquidity. In the end, for us to actually thrive and be able to provide the service to ODL, we need a very liquid market. So the more robust books that we build in every region where we open, the better liquidity that we're going to have to service ODL, and then the better the rates and the spreads that customers are going to have.
Okay.
With us being on RippleNet now for outbound payments, the next step in the next few weeks is really opening up inbound payments through RippleNet, either pre-fund and ODL, and reaching out to every Ripple customer out there who's seeking local Aussie distribution to come and engage FlashFX. We can help STP payments from Ripple directly into local bank accounts. And we can really, drive this and give a good experience then for those clients overseas, seeking to use Ripple for local payments to Australia.
Anything you're looking for, Michael?
I agree with what they said. I mean, it's the way we built our platform is we plug in whichever one is the best solution, and that's a range of factors. And we wouldn't be sending payments through RippleNet if it didn't work for that for our customers. So for us, it's simple. I mean, we're not a bank. We're just a business that builds people and needs to pay a lot of people. So it's a little easier for us.
Great. Well, thank you all for that. So we're all big fans of on-demand liquidity. But in full transparency, it's a new product, so we're building something that's really never existed before, and also in an industry that's relatively new, with many partners who are also relatively new. And so I want us to talk a little bit, or get the feedback from our panelists on some of the surprises that they have experienced over the course of becoming involved with this product. Who would like to start? Michael.
Some of the surprises?
Yeah, you get picked on because you're sitting right next to me.
Whenever you're sending payments, especially to some of these challenging corridors, you're going to have problems and you're going to have issues. The surprises is how quickly that we've been able to adapt to those issues, identify them, and make stable, long-standing changes. And that has to do with a lot of the communication that we have back and forth. Typically, I don't get that kind of adaptiveness with banking platforms, but that's there's always surprises. There's little things.
Have you guys been surprised by anything?
For us, we've seen, we believed in the Ripple solution for a long time, and to a certain degree, surprised how long it's taken in terms of the adoption rates. From banks, from MSPs to really buy into what Ripple can do. And yes, it's gone through a number of iterations. With ODL now, I think that adoption rate, in my mind, can only increase and improve. Yes, there will be some regulatory certainty around using digital asset for a bank. I think that will create more comfort, and I think that will certainly help. So for me, the biggest surprise is almost how long it's taken for the adoption to come in.
For me, I think the biggest surprise, and it's not necessarily a challenge, but we had been building together with Ripple this integration for so many months, even years, and it almost seemed like it was just a dream that was far away and that we couldn't reach. And suddenly, in the past couple of months, we've seen the growth of this remarkable new product and seen the adoption, how fast it has taken off. So it has been a very positive surprise to see that it's true, it's real, it does work. But of course, it comes with challenges of growing, adapting, changing how you interact with your own infrastructure. But I think it's just a positive surprise after another.
I think on the you were saying adapting and some things in your own infrastructure. I wanted to clarify that in using on-demand liquidity as a partner with RippleNet, you don't have to be all digital assets or all fiat. There are many customers who are adopting on-demand liquidity for certain aspects of their business, but not all. So I wanted to just ask the group, how do you manage that internally for those of you who are using both fiat and digital assets?
In Interbank, we will use both. We are going to keep our line of business as traditional because it works, and our clients still use it as it is, but we are going to upgrade and have a different line to use ODL. Here again, we have split, and the project is totally controlled by the Innovation Lab, which gives a good plus because we work as a sandbox. So we can test transactions, we work with different teams, we can even hire our integrations differently, so that allows us to have speed. But I guess the opposite side of that is that we still need to go through the teams, to the product, to do all these changes. And it's been a huge challenge. And as in answering your question about what's been surprising, I think we wouldn't have imagined that it was so messy, this current product that we have. It works, but it works in a messy way internally for our client, the bank, and for our clients outside. They're so used to this regular experience that is not comparable. So as we envision that we're going to use both lines, but we think the ODL is going to take over very fast, for sure.
Yeah, for us, we've built our infrastructure really up from the ground, and have our payments engine, which can see depending on the destination, what currency, if the bank account is going somewhere else. And for us, it's actually no problem to have fiat, off ledger, on ledger payments all next to each other. It really depends on the client and where the destination is that they want to send it to. So we've been working, from the ground up and never really experienced an issue. And our aim is to eliminate more of the SWIFT currencies we have, or other methods, and increase where we can in RippleNet currencies.
Great. So the next couple of questions I have are kind of more future-looking, and then also just want to plug for the audience. I'm going to try to save just a few minutes at the end for questions that you might have, so you can go ahead and start thinking of any that you have for our panelists. So the first question is, as you think about the evolution of this product and just of the digital asset space generally, what are you hoping to see, like what impact to your business are you hoping to see in the next 12 to 24 months from the adoption of these types of products?
Well, from the adoption of these types of products, we're just opening more corridors with RippleNet. But if you're asking generally what I see as the future of digital assets, that's a question as to what you consider a digital asset in a broader spectrum. And I've gone over this before in the past, where I look at, if you go back, if you look at your credit card points, those are digital assets. They have a value. I have no control over the value. I have no contribution to the value. I use my credit card and I can get a hotel room. I used to be able to get a St. Regis for 20,000 points. Now it's 60,000. So it's my contribution to the credit card companies when I'm using their card. I don't think I see a fair value in return. So we do things like cash back. We do different incentives to our community, and we went out and started to do some testing and saying, hey, if we paid you, instead of giving you this reward in cash back and these other rewards, what if we gave you a digital asset reward like XRP? And we kind of came up with a little formula to incentivize our community with XRP, and our testing and our talks, people were a lot more excited about that than cash. And I can see why, because I get a lot more excited about what I can do with points, even though they're just magic, than what I can do with like a regular cash back, because it could have some value to me that's more than cash when I need it. But nothing compares to, I mean, like I mentioned before, I've written a book on digital currency, but I've never been a digital currency investor. But if I had a a company that I was contributing to, that I chose business. I mean, for us, it's a sales mechanism. If I can attract business by incentivizing our community with a digital asset, I'm going to win the business. And I know that that's an easier sale and a more attractive opportunity than just saying, we'll give you some cash back, which is nice, but it's far more attractive because their contribution to the business drives value, and that value goes up, can mean a lot more than a free flight to see my aunt on Southwest. So there you go.
Interesting. So even beyond just cross-border payments, but actually using XRP as a reward system to incentivize your customers.
Yeah, I think loyalty, I think digital assets has always been loyalty. We just didn't look at it that way. But looking to the future, I think people are going to start seeing digital assets as a vehicle to incentivize business. And once we have a mechanism to release that incentive, to encourage loyalty, I think people are going to be very excited about it. And it's a way to not just drive business, but I think people will be really happy at the prospect of what a digital asset can do.
And Bárbara, you had mentioned some opportunities with on-demand liquidity for regional growth. Can you say a bit more about that?
Yes, of course. I think one of the main barriers that we see in the industry is the skepticism that people have going into these types of products or even the digital asset space. So we want to see the network effects coming into place, especially in the region, as we start connecting different countries. Like as Joisie mentioned before, it's a matter of inclusion. And we operate in a region that has been secluded for many years from this inclusion. And as we expand to new countries, trying to see those network effects coming into place, as more industry players come and try and test this product, they validate the system and they validate the technology. So we can actually start connecting new corridors, because it's not only from the US onto every one of these countries, but the countries themselves have such a demand for this cross-border payments that if you start building a network amongst the region itself, I think it's going to be a huge win for everybody, but especially for the people who have been secluded from being connected for so many years and ignored. So it's a matter of giving a new opportunity for the people.
Nicolas, Joisie, what are you hoping to see?
I think for us, the vision is clear. We have 3 things to expect this year. First, we're going to change the mindset of our team and overall our organization. We're in a very interesting time in Peru, especially. There's a lot of friction in terms of mindset. There's the pushers that we're trying to be more innovative and try to explore outside of our box. And then there is the more conservatives that are still trying to take care of everything that works right now. So we hope that from the lab, we're going to be able to spread to both lines of product, both corporate payments to remittances, that we can use ODL and we can use X-Current overall to do payments. After we see a change in the mindset, we're going to be able to also move to corporate payments, which is our main target for ODL. And after that, we're going to be able to be more competitive internationally. As I mentioned, we're a bank that is just placed in Peru right now, but we have a bigger vision for ourselves because we know our clients are all over the world. So we want to be more competitive. And as Bárbara said, increasing that network of partners, which is a great place to be inside the Ripple net. We're going to be able to achieve that main goal. As you can see, all those steps are sequential. So we're hoping that this year is going to develop that way, and we're going to push for that.
Nicolas, any thoughts on your hopes?
Well, I think it just continue on the path we've been on. Yeah. Connecting our customers or giving a better experience for the more B2C side to really see that firsthand, but then also for our more B2B payment gateways who sort of new to the Ripple discussion, and we see an increased comfort around using XRP digital assets as an alternative to methods they've been using now, and for us, now being on RippleNet and make payments locally into Australia for everyone else, we see a number of ways to improve what FlashFX is doing and how we can grow.
Great. I'm interested in your point of view on the one thing or maybe one or two things that you think the industry as a whole really needs in order for the progress around on-demand liquidity and just the use of digital assets for cross-border payments. Like, how can we make that move more quickly or improve the progress that we're making? What does the industry and this group collectively need?
I would say it's not about competition. It's about building the ecosystem. So I think that we need to start working together and stop seeing ourselves as threats. I think that everyone here and everyone interested in the technology has the same vision that this will revolutionize the way that we've been experiencing all our lives, the financial system. So working together and building the ecosystem together and helping each other, I think it's a very rosy picture, but I think it's much needed for sure.
I agree with Bárbara. I think last year when we met with Bitso. Bitso came to Peru. We had some meetings about maybe landing in Peru. And fast forward, we will be doing our pilot with them. So I think Swell is a great place to meet your future connections. We actually did that last year. All the partners that we have been integrating through this year have been the ones that we met at Swell. As Bárbara said, it's not about competition, and I definitely don't feel this event has, either last year or this year, had that vibe. I think I would say just to take a chance, just as everyone is taking a chance to come into this event, hearing about ODL, listening and keeping an eye on what's happening with the XRP, I think taking a step forward, and as I said before, maybe not thinking about what will make sense for your current system and your current structure, what will make sense as a business case, but it's just looking at the opportunity of building a different way of looking into this business. We're taking a chance of that, and I think that if the whole community does the same, we're going to move forward a lot faster. I think finally, we'll say, if we all do that, in the case of Peru, we first move, companies first move, and our regulation moves around us. So if we all just keep moving forward, I think there are cases in which regulations are not going to be a stopper, as is the case in Peru. We first develop, we even go and teach them what we're doing, what is blockchain, what is XRP, and they work with us. I think there's a big opportunity to do really good partnerships here.
Cool. Nicolas, anything you'd like to add?
Oh, look, I think the cooperation and partnerships is certainly, among MSPs and banks, but also with the regulator. When we gone through our licensing process, we were open with ASIC at a time, 3 or 4 years ago, we're working with Ripple, that's what we're going to do, that's how it's going to work. And, yes, it took some time, but, we've gone through and, we educated them, we stayed in touch, we give updates of what's happening, and I think that's what it needs. We need to learn and listen to each other and, move forward.
Great. Anything you want to add?
Sure. Partnerships are great. Partnerships with other payment senders is great. I think partnerships with value partners, solutions that can issue what we see as in demand, like card issuers and different virtual IBAN issuers. I mean, these are things that are in demand. So you've got, if you want to umbrella a client experience, sure, you can send money from here to there, you can exchange it from here to there using digital assets in and out of fiat, but being able to offer those other utilities like virtual IBANs, virtual accounts, neobanking, and issuing cards is an absolute must. But that's just what I see. I'm more in the end user perspective.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you guys for those thoughts. I just noticing the time, we didn't leave too many minutes for questions, but we do have time for one. We are sitting in between you and a break, so if anyone has a question, could bring a microphone for our panelists here.
Hello, my name is Michael, I'm from Switzerland. Last year we learned that RippleNet is offering multi-hop feature. Is it today possible, let's say for a bank like Santander, to use FlashFX as multi-hop hub to send money to Westpac in Australia? And if not, what's preventing them?
Want to take it?
Thanks for the question, Michael. Yeah, so what we will have with our solution is that we can receive payments on Ripple and can make payments to NPP to any bank account as an STP solution. It doesn't matter which bank it is. Once it reaches Australia, FlashFX, yes, it's no longer on Ripple Net, but then we make a local NPP payments. Yeah, I think like that's really the essence of what we're trying to do. I think I'm not 100% sure around the technical aspects around multi-hop, but for us it's kind of we are on the receiving end of that instruction or that payment, and we just do the last mile delivery.
Well, thank you all so much. I'm getting the red light flashing down below, so I will wrap it up. We are going to take a break, so that's the next on your agenda. Thank you so much to the panelists for sharing your insights and thoughts. Again, we're really eager for the partner and customer feedback as we continue to evolve this product going forward, so please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks again.